Hello everyone, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. You're watching 284 Media. Thank you so much for your time. A happy Thursday is wished to each and every one of you. Mr. Rhodni Skelton, the name is synonymous for hospitality and tourism in the Virgin Islands. He served for some 19 years at the BVI Tourist Board, and on February 6th he departed that institution, and we're going to talk about exactly what took place and led to that departure, as well as some of his proudest moments having served the territory in the various capacities within hospitality industry. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites.
It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
Welcome back everyone, and thank you so much for sticking with us. As promised, I am joined by Mr. Rhodni Skelton, the former Deputy Director of the BVI Tourist Board. Rhodni, welcome to our set, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for the platform, man.
Absolutely. As mentioned, you served at the BVI Tourist Board for some 19 years. Outside of course of that, you served in various hospitality industries as film commissioner, and most recent as Deputy Director of the BVI Tourist Board. I use the word departed, but some may argue with a choice of words. You are no longer at the Tourist Board, and for many that is quite unfortunate. February 6th was your last day. What transpired that would have led to that?
It's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, when you reach a level to the level that I got to, it's nothing is ever that simple, that black and white. For me to speak to what happened, I would have to kind of go back.
Please do.
Maybe about 4 years, when the opportunity came up for the vacancy for Director of Tourism. Obviously, I was already Deputy Director, next in line, but nothing is automatic. Nothing is given to you. Applied for the position, even though I may have felt internally I shouldn't have to apply for the position, seeing that I've already I'd been acting director on multiple occasions. Nonetheless, I applied, and the former government formed a special committee to conduct the interviews for Director of Tourism, which goes against the BVI Tourist Board Act. It's always the Board of Directors who selects. So when I went into the first interview and I realized, well, wait, this is not the board of directors. These are people that don't even have anything to do with tourism. I think the only person on there would have been the chairwoman at that time, Ms. Sproul. And so I instantly knew something was a little amiss. Ron, everybody knows Rhodni Skelton. I'm pretty straightforward. I speak my mind. I really don't hold back. And so it kind of came off as, okay, this is a concerted effort. If Rhodni is the natural successor and we're doing something totally different, clearly they're not happy with having me as the director. So right away, and then obviously someone else got the job. Someone who was my junior was given the opportunity to be director. So you feel a little slighted, and we're human. Big tough guy, everybody knows me. But I'm human. You still feel a little bit slighted. Said, okay, well, let's give this a shot and see how this works. Maybe it's just not my time. Well, 2 years have passed since then, and the position is now up again. And the current board members have said they're going in a different direction, which means Rhodni Skelton, again, would not be afforded the opportunity despite all of my qualifications. You know that I went away to school to get a master's degree specifically in tourism. Having 19 at the time would have been about 16 years of experience and all of that. And so to be slighted twice, that was kind of a hard pill to swallow after 19 years. And so then the talk came up about, okay, well, let's see About going in a different direction. I don't think I could do it again. Mental health matters. I'm a person that never really felt that. You know, I'm like, listen, you just put your foot down, one step in front of the other, deal with today, and get ready for tomorrow. But mental health does matter.
Absolutely.
When you find yourself waking up and unsure if you want to go to the office, unsure if you want to deal with certain people, then you know that something is a little amiss. So we came to the point where there was an impasse, and as I mentioned in a previous interview, I came down to a take it or leave it, and that makes it even more bitter for me, because there was an opportunity to say, okay, since we're going in a different direction, let's let Mr. Skelton go and wish him the best, and that I won't go into too much of the details because there's still some more things on the table to deal with. But it was not a situation of this is a local guy who has given of his time, sacrificed for 19 years. Let's send him off the right way. Maybe now is not his time, but let's do the right thing by him. That did not happen. So that makes my departure. This is not the way that I wanted to leave the tourist board. Your passion is your purpose.
Absolutely.
And you want to know what your job is, what is the reason that God has you here. Find whatever you're just absolutely passionate about. And this is one of those things. So I love my job. If they call me back tomorrow, under the right circumstances, I will be glad to go in. I had some of my team with me last night. We had a couple of drinks, some laughs, sang some karaoke. I love my team. We have an amazing team at the tourist board. It's just unfortunate that, you let the politics get in. You let the personal vendettas and the personal biases get in, because you have board members coming from outside. And they come with, it's a small community. I know your dad, I know you before you were born and all that type of stuff. And so people come in with these personal biases. They come in with political motives. And unfortunately, we let those things get in the way of the people who can really, make a difference and help us to succeed and all of that good stuff. It's just frustrating.
I understand and I appreciate your honesty in sharing that. I have to go back to a couple of things that you touched on. The first being, why is it that you feel, you may not have the answer to this, unfortunately though, why do you feel that you, and some persons will call it snubbed for the director on more than one occasion?
Because of the person that Rhodni is.
Okay.
Again, I'm going to tell you as it is. Ron, this is your field. Media, journalism. If you tell me right now, hey, Rhodni, you need to switch your shoulders. Hey, Rhodni, this color doesn't go well with whatever the camera in the background and how much time we need to allot.
You're paying attention to the expert.
That's you. That's what you do. Destination marketing is what I do. And destination marketing is a different kettle of fish. I mentioned it before. Destination marketing is not like marketing a car rental.
Correct.
It's not like marketing a food and beverage spot. You're dealing with all of these different facets, all that have their own needs, the accommodation sector, the transportation sector, activities and all of that type of stuff. Our scope is much larger. Ron, I say without any trepidation, there is not a single person in this BVI who can surpass me in terms of total qualifications. Time on the job, education, knowledge base, my network that I've amassed over the 19 years, and there's nobody. So why would you have a challenge with Rhodni Skelton? Because some of these board members may come in with their own thinking. Well, we need to do this because Bahamas is doing X, Y, Z. And then I would be the one to push back and say, no, Bahamas, their product is different than ours. Their approach to marketing is different than ours. Why are we trying to be anyone else? We have a plan. We know what we do. Again, that team at the tourist board is awesome. I learned from some folks who've been there before me. But it's going to be because Rhodni is going to push back. Board members are coming in, and they, from the outside looking in, think they know. And there is no way that I'm going to sit in a board meeting and they're going to tell me to paint this wall white when I know it absolutely will not work. I'm going to be the one in the meeting saying, hey, board members, that's not going to work. And I think that's what the challenge is. I heard specifically from key members of the former government, even in this unity government, the phrase is Rhodni's hard to handle. Why are you trying to handle Rhodni Skelton? Why not let this person who has the wealth of knowledge and qualifications and experience, why not turn him loose? Understood. Why not let him do what he does?
Rhodni, you have now joined the myriad of civil servants and person working in statutory bodies who have faced the decade-long issue of political interference and victimization. You mentioned it before. Administrations switch, persons continue to do what they think is best. Why do you think we're still at this point in our country where hardworking persons like yourself who have dedicated years of service are at the hands of political interference and victimization?
I don't think it's just here. I'm sure you talk to people, even from the larger countries, political interference. It's an unavoidable part of any society. Excuse me, sorry about that. I think that it's magnified because of the size of our community.
Correct.
And we are so small, and so one little pebble and the ripple effect is really large. I think it's also important to know that we are young in terms of our political maturity. We've only had 60 years, maybe 50, 60 years of, where we're, electing our own officials and things like that. We haven't had since 98. The most we've had is one government sit for 2 terms. And we've just continued to flip-flop, and now we're at a new impasse in our political. So I think it's all new. I think it's persons are coming in, your government gets in, I want to put my people in place. Nothing is wrong with that. But you can't do that at the expense of someone else who has put in the time. And then the persons that get in, I want what I can get from myself now. So people might be on a board member. Let's say you're a board member and you have this platform. Well, I'm going to try to drive every single interview, every single piece of media to my platform. And so I only have 3 years or maybe 4 years as a board member. Let me see how I can best benefit my company. And if someone like Rhodni Skelton is there who is looking out for the entire destination, then I become a problem because I'm not going to simply send every story to you. We're going to make sure that things are spread out. So I think that's my understanding of why this victimization happens. And then, of course, once you're somebody who speaks out, you're going to become a pariah.
Well, speaking out, you've served us well. Tell me some about your proudest moments at the BVI Tourist Board. A lot of successful projects, of course, but what have been some of the most moments that have stood out for you?
Last night. Just hanging out with my friends, I saw 2 former employees of the tourist board. So it was just a little kind of farewell. I told them I didn't want anything big. I didn't want the tourist board doing anything. If my team wanted to do something, no problem, I would be there. And I was there. And to see 2 former employees come out and to be a part of us just, celebrating each other, it made me feel good.
Okay.
It says that my impact is more than just the little accomplishments. We all know about the Lobster Fest, and we all know about the stuff I've done in the film commission space and all of that. I thought about it, Ron, and my success is really the BVI success. While I am proud to say that I have been the driving force, there's no new idea under the sun, but it's clear that Rhodni was the driving force behind the Anegada Lobster Festival. That is dwarfed by, we got 1 million visitors for the first time under my former director, Sharon Flax. I was a key part of that. That was marketing and pushing and all of that. That's a proud moment for me. But it's not me. This is team effort. I looked at the team after the devastations of the hurricanes, and I was able to pick up the phone of sorts because we didn't have much communication and say, hey, listen, we still need to be out here. We had about 200 visitors left on island after the hurricanes. Some of my staff lost their entire house, and I got them to put on their shirts every day, go to the distribution center and make sure those 9 different areas for districts 1 through 9 that they had their relief supplies, and that's not part of their job. Everybody came out, and I was able to rally them. I think my proudest moment is just knowing that I can rally my team. I've helped some persons who've moved on to other occupations or other jobs outside of the tourist board. That's great to see growth in people and give them opportunity. So my accomplishments, my proud moments isn't really a thing. I can't put a finger in it. It's just my body of work. I think my impact on the team. And damn me, because again, I can't not talk about Lynette Harrigan, MBE. MBE? I keep mixing it up. Is it MBE?
It is MBE.
MBE, Lynette Harrigan, MBE, Keith Dawson, Hazel Penn, Perla George, some of the older folks who I met at the tourist board, Cynthia. And they imparted on me. Last night I told Keith Dawson, when I first came to the tourist board in 2004, Keith was the person who was instructed to I had to understudy him in the film commission. I said, but Keith, I came and I met you. Now I'm gone and I leave you, you're still here. I said, man, what is it? How do they say that the child is not supposed to die before the parent?
Correct.
And so we had a little laugh about that. So there are some folks who impacted me. Kedrick Malone was my director, Jan Brathwaite, they were really great. Even Sharon would tell anybody, Sharon Flax, and even her departure. Totally uncalled for. You don't deal with your own people that way. We got to do better. And Sharon and I, strong-willed person, as am I, we butt heads. Sharon wanted to know, Sharon, we're doing this. And we joke about that even last night. But she has made an impact on me as well. If you had asked me in 2015 when I came back from school, Rhodni, you ready to be director? I would have told you, absolutely, I'm ready. But the 2 or so, I don't know how many years it was under Sharon, maybe 4 or 5, I'm not sure. I picked up some things, and it speaks to the importance of waiting your turn. Learning from the person who's ahead of you to prepare you for the position. So persons like that have impacted me. And then of course we have our junior staff who I think I have been able to leave an impact on as well. So that's
incredible. I have to ask you, and in hindsight, based on the trajectory, the unfortunate trajectory of our territory and what has been taking place, are you at all fearful that what has taken place with you may happen with other persons, not only at the BVI Tourist Board specifically, but elsewhere within our territory?
Totally. And we have to stop, man. We're too small for that. The things that other countries can get away with because they're much larger, they have more resources, we're too small. We can't take on what everybody else is doing. Well, US is doing this or UK is doing that, so we need to adopt that here in the Virgin Islands. We're too small. I remember as a young kid growing up in St. Croix, the thing was that BVI looked out for its own. You didn't have any franchises, so no McDonald's and no KFCs. Why? Because we wanted to protect the mom and pop restaurants. People were looking at BVI as the model. I think somewhere that has changed, and now BVI we're looking at, well, they do this in Trinidad, or they do that in the UK, and so, man, we were pretty good. So to answer your question, unfortunately, maybe it's just a natural trajectory. It's going to happen again. Unfortunately, it might be next week, it might be next year. You're going to hear someone else who has a lot to give, and that person be victimized for whatever reason, and it needs to stop. I vow this. If I'm ever in a position, if I'm ever a board member, if I'm ever a head of any civil service organization, because of what I went through, I would never let that happen to anybody else. Give that person the shot, allow them to fail on their own. And then the person now can't say, well, they were victimized or they were stymied. You gave that person the opportunity. They got their education, they got the experience, they got the know-how, turn them loose.
Understood. Now, 19 years, that chapter has seemingly closed, but the book is not over. What would you say is next for Rhodni Skelton? That's
the question everybody asks. Well, Rhodni, what are you going to do next? And I took the little scripture from the Bible where it says, peace, be still. And so for me right now, it's just peace, be still. There are a couple of options out there. You may have heard me mention that other destinations have already reached out to me to see if I would be able to come and work with them. I'm not sure I'm quite ready for that yet. There are some business opportunities in the tourism space, beach bar and restaurant type setup, which I know I'll be in my element and being able to just talk up BVI.
And
interact with our guests as they come in. And then of course, the school children talking about the whole politics thing. I think I can be good in that arena. I'm not sure if, let me, I was going to say, I'm not sure if I'm ready. It's not whether I'm ready, it's whether the people would want me.
If given the opportunity, would you serve in the political arena?
Definitely.
At this present time?
Definitely. But it has to come in. I think a lot of people who've contested elections, they've done so for their own personal reasons, and maybe you want to have the title and power, as they say. That wouldn't be it for me. It has to be that there's something that people see in me and they want me, whether it's I vote in the 4th district or at large, everybody knows me throughout the territory, but it has to be, and then, there's the whole party system, and we're going into an arena now where I think the voting populace, they're welcoming more independent candidates who are non-affiliated. So there's lots to discuss, and we have a short space of time for this election. But that is not priority for me now. In terms of what's next for me, that is not priority, but it is something, if the people want it, when the people call for you, you got to go.
Understood. Well, allow me to be the first, I'm sure not the first, but on behalf of my team here at 284 Media, thank you for your dedication and service to the BVI Tourist Board and the territory on a whole. We do wish you the very best, and we look forward to seeing what's next for you. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you for having me.
Viewers, that's all the time we have. Do have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye-bye.